Good morning and welcome back to Scale Auto Guys Workbench. Today we're working on this 67 Chevelle Pro Street by AMT. I bought this about a year ago when Walmart was having a clearance sale, and yeah, as you can see the price on the box there, $13. You just can't find them too many times like that anymore. The prices on kits have gotten pretty ridiculous, but once in a while we get lucky. We'll catch them on a clearance sale or just a regular sale, and we can get a decent price. So let's take a look at the box here. As it's listed, it is Pro Street. It cannot be built stock, and I'll show you why in a little bit. But there's the tree count and on the back. I'm not sure how many parts there is on this. I don't recall seeing that listed, but we'll take a look at what comes in the box here. First off is your body. The body looks pretty straight, pretty clean. It is kind of an off-white kind of color. It's not really white like some of them that you see. There is a little bit of tiny flash there, but it's not really bad. It's actually pretty good for an AMT kit. And so there's your body. And here's why I said that you can't build this stock. The chassis has been tubbed, so you have to use the slicks that I'll show you here in a minute on the back end of this. So that's your body and your chassis. Here's your first tree that has your engine and hood. Now the hood's got a spot there where you can cut it out if you want to use the hood scoop. I'm not sure with the engine setup in this if you're going to be able to use that hood without the scoop. We'll have to look at that when we get there. Again, the trees, they're pretty clean. They don't have any flash to them at all. Here's your interior door panels and your rear seat area. That's again all rigged up for racing. It says Chevrolet on there, so that'll be kind of cool. Put some chrome bare metal foil across that to simulate like stainless steel. That'd be kind of cool. It does give you 2 front seats in your roll cage, long headers with some kind of muffler system on that. That's cool. Here's your chrome tree. A lot of chrome on the engine. There's a lot of chrome parts for it. So maybe this is more of a show car than a pro street car. Pause here. Fuck. God. No. Continue. Alright, some loose pieces that were in the bags as part of the hood scoop, and this is the other part. And the dash needs a little cleanup, but overall it looks pretty good. Here's your front and rear windows and your tail lights and your headlights. Now reach over here and grab this. Here's your 2 front tires. They're just they don't look like they're branded, but they have a kind of a decent tread on them there for racing. Get 2 of those. Then they give you 4 racing slicks. 2 of them just pad printed Goodyear slicks, and then a non-labeled, like a rain tire or a street tire. Back when I was a teenager, my father and I, we lived in an apartment complex, and there was a guy that had a 70 Roadrunner that he used to take to the track all the time. Beautiful car. Had it lifted in the rear end. You know, he had the slicks and everything. And one day, and he drove it on the street all the time. But when he drove it on the street, he would have his street tires on it. Well, one time he decided to go to the track, and he didn't bring his street tires with him to swap at the track. So he just drove it on the straight slicks all the way to the track and back. The problem was, he drove over to the track with no problems. Coming back, it started raining. Well, tire with no tread, you can imagine what happened. And that car took a while to get back to the pretty status that it was at prior to that day. He ended up wrecking it somehow. I don't know what he hit, but he messed up the front end on that car pretty bad, and it took him a while to put it back together. I felt sorry for the guy, but at the same time I kind of had a chuckle, because I knew him, and I walked down and I you know, kind of talked to him a little bit. He was a little bit upset, as you could imagine. And I had noticed that he had his racing slicks on there, not his street tires. And I kind of figured out what he did at that point. But anyway, let's get on back with this. Here's your decal sheet. Sorry, I kind of rambled there a little bit. It gives you, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different sets of license plates. Of course, these ones down here are not what you would consider road legal, but they're still license plates. Couple of different striping packages there, red, white, and black. And your gauges on here and on the corner. So it's a very small decal sheet, and that's fine. Last but not least is the instruction sheet, or as I sometimes refer to it as the decal sheet for whatever reason. I'm crazy. Anyway, it looks like the only way to build this is with the tunnel ram, and oh, okay. If you use the air cleaner, you can do it without opening the hood. But if you use the I don't know what I forget what you call that. I don't know what I don't remember what that's called. Anyway, if you use that, you have to open the hood for obvious reasons. It stands too tall, and I'm not sure if I want to put that hood scoop on there or not. I kind of like hood scoops, but I kind of don't. And let's look at that last page. Yeah, it says oh, velocity stacks. It says it right there, velocity stacks. I knew that, just couldn't remember it for whatever reason. It gives you a couple of options there. You can put the hinges on so you can have the hood open all the time, or you can, you know, cut that open for the hood scoop for the velocity stack clearance, or you can just put the regular air cleaners on there and keep the hood stock. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this yet. Everything says put the hood scoop on. It's supposed to be that way. I don't know. I sometimes go the opposite direction. I don't know. I haven't decided on a color on this. That gold on the box looks good. but I don't know. I'll have to think about the exterior color, and well, let's get building this. I'm gonna do what little bit of cleanup, very little cleanup that it needs to be done. Get that done, and we'll get over to the paint booth, lay down some primer, and start building this sucker. All right, let's get started. I'll see you in a minute. Alright, I got the engine almost completed. I just need to put the headers on it, and I'm going to wait until I put that in the chassis to put the headers on. I like to do it that way, so it's a little easier and I can align everything up properly. So the engine's completed. I did put the roll cage together. I need to go in and touch up some painting on it. I didn't get quite as good a coverage on it as I wanted, and so that'll go in right about in here somewhere. And yeah, and then we'll be on to the rest of the interior, seats, dash, and everything else. So let's get busy on that. Okay, I've got some of the assembly done here without the camera on, obviously. The roll cage is a little bit tricky. This one here, it didn't look warped, but it does have just a little bit of warp in it. It doesn't go together real easily, but you know, if you fiddle with it enough, it will. So I've got it in, got it glued in, obviously got the seats in. What I did back here is I put a little, well, not a little, it's some bare metal foil, and then I went over it with a toothpick and some blue paint. It doesn't look great, but once it's inside the car, you're not going to see it anyway. But here we are at that. Next thing you know, listen to me. Next thing I need to do is the door panels, and I took a silver gel pen and I kind of accented the lines, just to give it a little bit of a contrast, if you will. Obviously there are no armrests on those doors, and so you don't have to worry about, you know, doing anything with those. With the dash, I took my silver pencil here and I picked out all of the detail on that, and so that's good to go. The steering wheel I painted in the silver with the silver gel pen, And as soon as that's dry, we'll be ready to put that together. So this is moving right along. I'm kind of surprised actually how fast this is all coming together. So let's continue on. Alright, I got the suspension done. I got to do a little touch-up painting, but let me show you what I have. Now this front suspension is a little bit fiddly, and I guess I should have shot video of me putting it together. It consists of the upper control arm, the spindle, the spring, the lower control arm, the center link and tie rods, inner and outer tie rods on both sides. Now there's holes in the chassis here, here, for the lower control arm, but the upper control arm, it glues in a little bit weird, and let me show you what I mean. And here's the messy part about this. They don't give you a clear picture of how this upper control arm goes into the framework here. It's not a clear picture, as you can see. But what I ended up discovering is where the spring mounts here, where this lip is, this goes just to the inside of this. So this part will meet flush against the frame right here, and then the spring goes on top of that. And this is pretty obvious. It doesn't, self-explanatory there. This, it took me a second to recognize where that mounts on the frame, which is this point here and here, and the same on the opposite side. So once I figured out where the upper control arm went, the rest of it just kind of fell together, I guess you could say. And then make sure you put the center link and stuff, the tie rod ends, make sure you put those on, put it on one side and then assemble the other side. Don't try to put it on last, because it's very difficult to get it around the framework. So put one side together, put this on, then do the other side, and then attach it to the other side. That was a little sketchy. Rear suspension, real easy, real easy. This you can't mess this up. These two pins here on the rear axle go into the locating holes down here. Pretty easy. The wheelie bars and stuff like that, it just slips over the axle, and then this pin goes into the hole on the frame here and here. Make sure you put your drive shaft in before you attach that down. Other than that, this is what you end up with. That's the rear suspension. Now, as you can see, I have everything else up here done, and I do have to go through, like I said, and do a little touch-up painting. There was a few little spots where it attached to the sprue. When I cut it off, of course, the paint wasn't there, so I'm going to have to touch that up. Other than that, got to do the wheels and tires yet. I have not even started on the wheels and tires, but then we're on to the final couple of steps in this kit build. Onto the body, and I still have to clear the body and polish it, and so we'll be right back with that. Alright, all the chassis work and everything is done. I've got the wheels and tires installed, and I don't know about you, but I think it's looking pretty darn good. And got to do the clear coat on the body and get a little bit of polish down on it, bare metal foil, and the finishing touches, and then we'll be on to the final. Welcome to the final on this 1967 Chevrolet Chevelle SS Pro Street by AMT, of course. This kit went together really well with nearly zero issues. As you can see, this kit cannot be built stock unless you have an extensive parts box. I don't usually build Pro Street or racing cars very often, but I have to say that this one was a blast to put together. There was very little flash with this kit and zero warp, which is refreshing these days. There was one thing in the instruction sheet that was a bit confusing to me, and that was in step 2 when it was showing the air filter or the velocity stack to go on top of the carburetors. It said that one was for use with the hood scoop and the other was for use without the hood scoop. And for some reason in my brain I took that to be whether you wanted to cut that hole out of the hood or not, or if you wanted to use the hood scoop or not. But with this high-rise intake manifold that comes with this engine, it's absolutely necessary to cut out that hole regardless if you're going to use the scoop or not. So if you have this kit or are about to begin building it, I suggest that you cut that hole in the hood before you paint the body. I was fortunate and I was able to cut that hood without damaging the paint on the outside of the hood, so it cut pretty cleanly. If you don't know how to do that, take the let me see, where did it go? Take the back side of your number 11 blade like this and just score in that hole until you cut through the hood. Or if you have like a panel line scriber like this, you can use that too, but I find that the number 11 blade works just fine. You don't have to have a fancy tool to do it. One other thing about this build was the inside rear view mirror. Now I put it on, let the glue dry, and when I was putting the body on the chassis, excuse me, the roll cage caught that inside mirror and just took it right off. So I decided, well, if you're racing this car, you don't need to see what's behind you. So I just deleted all the outside mirrors and inside mirrors. You don't need to see what's behind you. You just need to see what's in front of you. So other than that, the body fits down on the chassis real tight, and I found that I didn't have to glue it in place. However, I did have to take my number 10 blade there and kind of slip it between the chassis and the body and kind of pry out to get the body to fit down over the wheel wells. You don't have to stretch it out too far, but you do have to pop it out just a little bit to get it over those wheel wells. Once you do that, the chassis pops right up in place, no problems. I did have to adjust it front to back a little bit, just maybe 1/4 of an inch. There is a little bit of play in there, but it's not bad. So I was going to go with all 4 headlight lenses from the kit, and I've had some of you guys give me some crap over that. I do like using the gemstones. They add a little bit of depth to the headlight buckets and stuff like that. But on this particular one, for the low beam headlights, I did use the lenses from the kit, but I went with the yellow gemstones for the high beams. And the reason why I did that, because I feel like it adds a little bit of that 60s or 70s nostalgia to the build. Because back in the day, a lot of guys did that. Not everybody did it, but a lot of guys did that. I also like the optional rear tires for this kit. As you've seen earlier in the video, there were drag slicks and also a pair of wide street tires for the rear. I went with the drag slicks on this, and I saved the street tires for another project. The only thing that this kit needed really was an optional set of rims, so that you could have an option of these rims or a different set of rims. These wheels look okay, but it would have been nice to have an option. I think the something a little bit different would have looked better. I don't know. So as you can probably tell in my voice and the fact that I'm coughing and stuff like that, I want to say I'm sorry that I missed last week's video release, but I caught a somewhat nasty bug that's resulted in an upper respiratory infection, and it's runny nose, coughing, sore throat, just feeling just horrible. So I didn't feel much like doing anything for like the last 2 weeks. But I'm on the mend now, so we'll be good for the next scheduled release. So here it is. Another build is done, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to smash the like, share, and comment buttons below. And by clicking the thumbs up button, it really does help the YouTube algorithm to share my content, which helps my channel grow. On my last video, I had a comment that one of the, well, now a subscriber, didn't even know my channel existed, and it just kind of popped up in his feed, and now he's a subscriber. And thank you for the subscription, by the way. So if you have any questions or comments, please write those in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to respond to you as soon as possible. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, or you can drop me a line at scaleautoguy@gmail.com. If you want more videos like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button below, and make sure to hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified when I post new videos. Thanks for watching Scale Auto Guy's Workbench, and I'll see you on the next build.